Hello. It is not a normal vlog today. I'm actually on holiday with my family, so I decided that I wouldn't film and we would just have private time. I wouldn't be able to film even if I tried because we spend most of our time by the pool or on the beach, and I don't know how I would film that without getting other people in shot in their swimwear, which is just something I never want to do because I would be absolutely horrified if a vlogger filmed me in my swimwear when I didn't know and wasn't consenting. So basically I thought, I'm just not going to film, I'm just going to have a holiday. I've worn my hair up every single day. I've not worn makeup. This is the most makeup I've worn the whole trip. We went on a little day trip today. We took a little boat out and we went to a place called Morgan or Mogan or Morgan, Port Morgan. And it was really pretty. I'll perhaps insert like a picture of it here because it was very Instagram-tastic. I haven't even been Instagramming while I've been here. I put up one picture just to say that we've gone away on holiday, and I've done a couple of little stories, but not much because I figured we're on like annual leave and I need to just let everybody just be and not constantly have a camera out, and it feels really weird. It feels like oddly refreshing, but also it feels really nice to be back in front of my camera. I clearly have like some issues I need to unpack surrounding my like need for technology and using my camera as like a bit of a crutch in social situations where I'm like, I don't really know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. I know, I'll film something. Anyway, so I will I wanted to talk to you today because I didn't want to have a week not uploading something, and as you can see I have like an addiction to making YouTube videos, but I wanted to talk to you about, you guessed it, my book. Incidentally, before I get cracking, I have been reading this by the pool and it is so good. This is When the Curtain Falls by Carrie Hope Fletcher. I'm not just saying it's really good because my friend wrote it and Carrie is my friend, but I'm gripped by it, and it takes a lot to grip me. I do enjoy reading books, but I read them little and often throughout the day, and I don't feel like that pull or compulsion to read them generally. I read them for like, oh, this is just a nice bit of leisure, put it down, oh, I just fancy a bit more leisure. But this, I feel like I need to know what happens. The first, the prologue is like one of the best prologues I have ever read of a book, apart from obviously mine. Go into a bookshop and just pick this up and just read the first page, and I think you will want to buy it, or just take my word for it and buy it because it is good and you will enjoy that. Another book you should take my word for is this. This is a mock-up of the cover. It's going to look very similar to this, but a bit more sparkly and jazzy, so your copy will be a bit more, you know, spangly. But this is my second book. We talk about this all the time, but I thought that I would give you some spoilers today. So you are warned, spoilers are coming for this book and Wilde Like Me. So we started with Wilde Like Me last year, and we started with Robin Wilde. This is her, and she is a single mother, and she started off in that book in a very dark place. It's called The Emptiness in the book because to me the emptiness symbolises, you know, that feeling when you just feel flat, when things that should be making you happy don't make you happy, and you feel lonely and vulnerable and really quite down. And that's a place that I have been before. So I often get asked, is the whole book my life? No, the whole book is not my life, but definitely the emptiness. I wrote that from a place of knowing how that feels, especially as a single mum. So that's how that book starts, and the arc of that book is what she does and how she does it to take herself out of the emptiness. So that is a spoiler, that she does come out of the emptiness by the end of Wilde Like Me. I won't tell you how or who or why or when, in case you've not read it, but that means that we start this book with Robin actually in a really good place. And that was a challenge writing this because it's like, oh, it's an easier story to go from a hard place and get to a good place, but it was much harder with this to start with a good place and have a bit of a roller coaster and end up where we end up. I won't spoil where we end up. There's a thing that happens in the book that when you read it you'll know that it's the thing, and I'm going to ask again closer to the time, but I would just ask that if you read it and you're just don't mention it to anyone, even if you're touched by it, or it's like, or if it evokes anything in you, please be very careful when you talk about that, because I just don't want to spoil it. I want every reader to read this story afresh. She says, just as she's about to reveal 5 spoilers. I'm not going to reveal that main spoiler though, because that's kind of like the crux of the story. But what I can tell you, I've got some notes here. I can tell you that Auntie Kath gets a boyfriend. Auntie Kath finds love in the most lovely of ways, and this man, he's called Colin. So Kath gets a boyfriend called Colin, and we learn all about him, and there are some ups and downs along the way with Colin, but ultimately I'll let you, he's a good egg, but it takes us a while to kind of get there, because he does some silly things that make you think, Colin, what are you doing? So that's spoiler number 1. Spoiler number 2 is that there is a new posh school mum in town, a PSM. She is called, well, should I give you names? Yes, that's fine. She is called Gloria, and she shakes things up a bit and ruffles some feathers, and she has a little bit of a romantic interest with someone else that we have already met in the book. So you can enjoy watching that unfold. I think somebody is very selfishly jet skiing. I'm trying to make a YouTube video. Spoiler number 3 is that Lila gets a bit of a mischievous streak in this book, and there is good reason for it, which you will kind of work out as the story unfolds. But Lila was hard to write. No, was she hard to write? The first book, she was very easy to write because she was just very sweet throughout. It was hard to make her be naughty, because to me Lila is this like sweetness and light, innocent character, but she kind of like wasn't quite so innocent in this book. So I'm interested to see what I do with her in book 3, whether I kind of like really push that and make her like this little rebel, or whether I like let her settle down again. But she's definitely not settled in this book. So if you remember from the end of Wilde Like Me, and this is a spoiler, Robin gets a bit of a promotion at the end of the book. So she actually starts off this book in her new role at Made It, and that comes with some challenges. It's sort of pretty good, and you meet the staff of Made It, and you meet Robin's new nemesis at Made It, and she is called Skye Bristly, and she is, well, I'll let you decide for yourself, but I think that when you first meet her, you'll be like, yeah, I've re-edited this bit because I said she is and then ended up talking way too much about her. I will let you decide, but you are going to meet her and you're going to have some strong feelings about her. Talking of nemesis, Valerie is still in this book. Finola and Gillian are obviously big players in this book, and their children are as well, and they are just like, they are perfect. They have like gone from, when I very first started even thinking about the Wilde books, they were like these not big characters, they were just going to be like a bit of fluff on the side, but they've come to be like really big, like wingmen in Robin's life. Like I imagine her standing there and both of them behind her like, yeah, we're like a force to be reckoned with. So I'm glad that they've developed into that, and I hope that in book 3 they develop further and further, especially Finola. I think that there's a lot more of Finola to give in this book, book 2, Wild About the Girl. Gillian reveals a lot more about her life, so we find out some pretty harsh truths about Gillian, which was very sad to write, but it will help you understand a lot more about why Gillian is the way she is. And I'm gonna stop now because I just can't wait for this book to be out and to talk about it. I'm doing a big book tour. This is like massive. I think there's going to be like 10 or 11 stops of it, and normally I do like 4 or 5, so this is definitely the biggest one ever. I'm also doing it with Paige Toon, who has just brought out 5 Years From Now, Carrie Hope Fletcher, who's written When the Curtain Falls, and Lindsay Kelk, who's done 1 in a Million. Is that what it's called? I hope it is. If it's not, I'm going to write on the screen the actual name of the title. But I'm doing some events with those people, and it's so nice to do events with other people because there's like a really great atmosphere at those. I will link below the thing to my book website, which is louisepentlandnovel.com, and if you scroll you'll see all the dates, and I'll also put an end card with all the dates on, so I'd absolutely love to see you there. And hopefully you would have had a chance to like read some of it. So this is not it. Go away, Carrie. To read some of it, and we can talk about it, because I would absolutely love to, because currently the only people that have read it are me, my editor Ellie, and like a handful of other people. So it'd be really, really nice for this story to be out there. If those spoilers have enticed you, I'm going to leave a pre-order link below for you. You can either go to my website, my louisepentlandnovel.com website, and pick any of the people who are selling, any of the sellers, what you call retailers, like Waterstones or any of the supermarkets or whatever. Or if you would like a signed copy, WH Smith are selling signed copies, but they're only limited. So if they run out, don't worry, because there'll be non-signed copies at lots of other places too. I would absolutely love you to order one of those. Think of it as like a little gift to future you, so that by the time it gets to August 9th, which is when it will plop through your letterbox, you'll be like, oh, thanks past me for the gift. It's the ultimate act of self-care. Or if you know someone that loves reading, it's a lovely little treat to give them a little gift. You'll be like, I'm thinking of you, I bought you this book, take some time out to read it. It would just mean the world to me if you would pre-order it. So I will leave this weekly vlog here. I'm just being kind of just mum this week. So I'm gonna go and take my makeup off and go down to the pool where my children are waiting for me with Liam, not just on their own. That would be pretty negligent to be like, bye kids, I hope you can swim. That took a weird turn. I hope you have enjoyed this slightly different weekly vlog, and I hope you don't mind that I've taken a week off from the norm. Next week, obviously, business as usual, Sunday 9 AM, you know where to find me, and I will see you all then. Big loves, lots of love. Have I covered everything? Probably. If I haven't, it'll be the down bar. For those of you that stayed till the end, you are good eggs, and I am rewarding you with this shot of the view from our balcony. This is what we've all been waking up to every morning. Isn't it absolutely gorgeous? I don't know if I mentioned it, but we are staying at Antfi in Gran Canaria. It's the most lovely resort. My dad used to take me and my sister here when we were little, so I decided I would book it again and like relive a bit of childhood and take my children here. So if ever you get the opportunity to come here, do. They've not asked me to this. Don't think they even know who I am. They don't care. I just booked it and here I am. But let me know if you've ever been to Antfi, because I love it. It's so nice.